Etymology. The origins and meaning of the initials BC, AD, BCE, and CE by Chamchoum. Welcome, dear viewers. When we open a calendar, we rarely pause to question the letters that define our sense of time. Yet abbreviations such as BC, AD, BCE, and CE are far more than simple dates. They are reflections of history, belief, and human agreement. These small markings shape how we organize the past, how we remember events, and how civilization chose a single moment as a reference point for time itself. In this short video, we will explore where these terms come from, what they truly mean, and why different cultures use different names for the very same years. This is a journey into time, language, and meaning. BC stands for before Christ. It refers to all years believed to have occurred before the traditionally calculated birth of Jesus of Nazareth. Time in the BC system is counted backwards. For example, 500 BC comes earlier than 100 BC, moving steadily toward the moment chosen as the dividing point of history. The BC system was developed within a Christian historical framework, but it was used to organize events that long predated Christianity itself. Ancient civilizations such as Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, and Rome are all placed within what we now call the BC period. BC represents one of the earliest widely adopted attempts to organize history around a single central reference point. AD comes from the Latin phrase Anno Domini, meaning in the year of the Lord. It refers to the years that follow the traditionally calculated birth of Jesus of Nazareth. A common misconception is that AD means after death. This is incorrect. AD begins with the birth, not the death, of Jesus. The AD system was introduced in the 6th century, when scholars sought to organize history around a single reference point. Over time, it spread throughout Europe and later much of the world. An important feature of this system is that there is no year zero. The calendar moves directly from 1 BC to AD 1, a detail that still shapes historical dating today. Together with BC, AD became the foundation of the traditional Western calendar. BCE stands for Before Common Era. It refers to the same years that were traditionally labeled BC, counting backward from the same historical reference point. The difference between BC and BCE is not chronological, but linguistic. BCE uses neutral terminology, removing explicit religious language while keeping the calendar unchanged. An event dated 500 BCE occurred in the same year as one dated 500 BC. The numbering of time remains identical, only the wording differs. The term BCE began appearing in scholarly and academic contexts as historians sought language that could be shared across cultures, beliefs, and disciplines. BCE allows ancient history, from early civilizations to classical antiquity, to be discussed using a common, inclusive framework without altering the timeline itself. CE stands for Common Era. It refers to the same years that were traditionally labeled AD, beginning from the same historical reference point. Like BCE, the term CE represents a change in language, not in timekeeping. The dates remain exactly the same, only the terminology has been adapted. An event dated 2024 CE occurred in the same year as AD 2024. The calendar itself is unchanged. The difference lies in how the era is named. CE came into wider use alongside BCE in academic, scientific, and international contexts, where neutral language allows history to be discussed across cultures and beliefs. Together, BCE and CE form a continuous timeline that mirrors BC and AD, offering an inclusive way to reference the same shared human history. As the study of history expanded beyond a single religious tradition, scholars began to recognize that the terms BC and AD were explicitly Christian in meaning. AD, short for Anno Domini, places Christian belief at the center of the calendar's language. While historically significant, this wording was not ideal for an increasingly global, academic, and multicultural context. To address this, the neutral terms BCE and CE were introduced. They preserved the same calendar and the same dates, while removing explicit religious references from scholarly language. These terms began appearing in academic writing from the 18th century, became more common in the 19th century, and were widely adopted in universities, museums, and international publications during the 20th century. The change was linguistic, not historical. The timeline remained the same, only the words evolved. Not all cultures measure time from the same starting point. Across civilizations, calendars reflect different understandings of history, creation, and meaning. In Hinduism, time is viewed as cyclical rather than linear. Hindu calendars follow multiple lunar and solar systems, and time is also understood through vast cosmic ages, known as yugas, in which creation, decline, and renewal repeat endlessly. As a result, there is no single Hindu year, but several parallel ways of measuring time. In Judaism, the traditional calendar counts years from what is understood as the creation of the world, based on biblical chronology. This places the current year at 5786, very different from the Common Era. The Jewish New Year is called Rosh Hashanah, and it marks the beginning of a new year in the Hebrew calendar, usually falling in September or October. In Zoroastrian tradition, there is no single universally observed calendar year today. Time is measured from significant spiritual and royal eras, often associated with the life of Zarathustra or later dynastic reforms, reflecting a moral journey between truth and falsehood within time. Depending on the calendar used, the current year is around 1395 or 1396, with dating traditionally linked to the reign of Yazdegerd III. In Islam, the calendar begins with the Hijra, the migration of the Prophet Muhammad from Mecca to Medina in 622 CE. The Islamic calendar is lunar, meaning its years do not align exactly with the solar calendar. As a result, the current Islamic year is 1447 Anno Hijri, known in Arabic as Al-Sanah al-Hijriya, with the Islamic New Year moving earlier each solar year. Together, these systems remind us that calendars are not universal truths, but cultural frameworks, each expressing how a civilization understands time, history, and meaning. The way we name time reveals more than dates. It reveals how societies think, believe, and evolve. From cyclical visions of time to creation-based reckonings to historical starting points such as the Hijri calendar, humanity has marked time in many ways, each shaped by culture, faith, and shared understanding. Whether we say BC or BCE, AD or CE, or follow other traditional calendars, we are still describing the same shared human story, viewed through different lenses. Calendars are not fixed truths. They are tools created to help us understand our place in time. By exploring the origins of these initials, we gain not only clarity, but perspective, a reminder that history is measured not just in years, but in meaning. Thanks for watching. Which of these terms do you prefer using? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Keep exploring. Watch more from the channel by tapping on the elements shown on your screen. Thanks for being part of the journey.